I mean, Larry Fink, with those numbers, he can say whatever he wants. BlackRock was fantastic.
Another too big to fail asset manager, which handles over $7 trillion in direct management and another $20 trillion through their proprietary software.
This is the story of how BlackRock, the silent giant of Wall Street, might just own the world. Think of it this way: an asset management firm with a shocking $9 trillion under its belt. A client list that includes central banks and Fortune 500 giants. And a knack for influencing the very companies it invests in. It's like the origin story of a superhero, but in the world of finance. First up, we've got Larry Fink. Before he became the man behind BlackRock, he had quite the journey in finance. Larry majored in political science at UCLA, which might sound surprising for a finance guru. But sometimes, unconventional backgrounds lead to remarkable success. At the tender age of 23, he entered the world of Wall Street. Picture a young, ambitious Larry, ready to take on the financial universe. He started his career at First Boston, where he focused on trading bonds. Not the most glamorous job, you might think, but it laid the groundwork for what was to come. Larry quickly climbed the corporate ladder, and within a decade, he had become a legend on Wall Street. He played a pivotal role in developing the debt securitization market. That's a fancy way of saying he helped bundle loans like car loans, credit card loans, and mortgages, and sold them as securities. Little did he know that this innovation would later play a part in the 2008 financial meltdown. But before we get to that, Larry had already made quite a name for himself. At the age of 31, he became the youngest managing director in the history of First Boston. Impressive, right? Larry was on top of the world, making millions and adding about $1 billion in assets to his firm's bottom line. However, it's essential to remember that success is often accompanied by challenges. In Larry's case, it was a massive loss of $100 million that changed the trajectory of his career. A single misstep wiped out trades and their hedging protection, and suddenly, Larry went from being a financial hero to an outcast. His reputation was in tatters, and his colleagues distanced themselves from him. It was a harsh lesson in the unforgiving world of finance. But was it as bad as the crisis of 2008? When the 2008 financial crisis hit, it was like a financial earthquake shaking the very foundations of Wall Street. The government realized they needed some heavy artillery to navigate this treacherous terrain. So, who did they call? You guessed it, BlackRock. They turned to the financial powerhouse for help in managing the fallout. It was like calling in the financial firefighters to put out the blazing inferno. Now, let's talk about what BlackRock did during this crisis. They were handed the colossal task of managing toxic assets, which were essentially financial instruments that had gone sour. These assets were like ticking time bombs, threatening to explode and wreak havoc on the economy. BlackRock stepped in with its financial expertise to defuse these ticking bombs. Or at least, that was the plan. They were tasked with figuring out how to sort through the mess and mitigate the damage. It was a daunting challenge to say the least, but here's where the controversy comes into play. The whole situation raised eyebrows because BlackRock was awarded these crucial government contracts without any competitive bidding. It was like picking the quarterback for your football team without letting anyone else on the field. The lack of transparency and competitive process led to questions and concerns about favoritism and secrecy. People wondered why BlackRock got the gig without others having a shot at it. It was a hot topic of debate during those turbulent times. Then, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, it sent shockwaves through the global economy, and the Federal Reserve needed some serious backup. Who did they turn to? None other than BlackRock, the finance heavy hitters. The FED relied on BlackRock to help with corporate bond purchases, a move that had never been seen before. It was like the financial equivalent of a Hail Mary pass in the final moments of a game. BlackRock's expertise was crucial in stabilizing the corporate bond market and preventing a total financial meltdown. Now, here's where things get a bit tricky. While BlackRock was tasked with helping out struggling companies during the pandemic, they had a not-so-small conflict of interest. See, BlackRock owned stakes in many of the very same companies that were getting bailed out. Imagine if a referee in a game had money riding on one of the teams playing. That's a conflict of interest. Some eyebrows were raised about whether BlackRock could truly act impartially when its financial interests were so intertwined with those of the companies that were supposed to help. Which brings us to the influence of BlackRock. First things first, let's talk numbers. BlackRock manages a mind-boggling $9 trillion in assets. Yes, you read that right, trillion with a T. To put it into perspective, that's more money than the GDP of most countries on this planet. It's like they have their fingers in the financial pies of countless businesses and investments worldwide. Now, let's talk about who's knocking on BlackRock's door. They've got clients that are the heavyweights of the financial world. Pension funds? Check. Sovereign wealth funds? Check. Even central banks? Yep, they're on the list too. It's like they're the financial advisors to the world's financial advisors. These clients trust BlackRock with their big bucks, and that speaks volumes about the level of trust and expertise they've earned. And here's the kicker. BlackRock isn't just a passive player in the financial world. They're the top shareholders in major corporations and banks. Think Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, and even the big banks like Wells Fargo and Chase. It's like they're not just in the game, they own a big piece of the game board. Do you think this gives them decision-making power? Comment down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like this video as well. This gives them significant influence in decision-making at these companies, and their voice carries weight when it comes to shaping the corporate world. So, when you think about it, BlackRock is not just an asset manager. They're more like financial puppeteers, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. BlackRock has been paying attention to the rising concerns about environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, issues. It's like they heard the planet's SOS call. They've responded by acknowledging the importance of ESG factors in investment decisions. This is a bit like a big ship changing course to avoid a storm or a major shift in direction. To show they mean business, BlackRock has launched initiatives to promote sustainable investing. They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. They're creating investment products focused on ESG criteria, making it easier for investors to put their money where their values are. It's like they're saying, you can make money and do good for the world at the same time. Who wouldn't want that? The impact of BlackRock's ESG focus goes beyond just their investments. It's like they're setting a new standard for corporate behavior. Companies are now feeling the pressure to improve their ESG score to attract investments. It's a bit like a school with a strict grading system. If you want to pass, you need to meet certain criteria. So, thanks to BlackRock's push for ESG, businesses are starting to clean up their act and make the world a better place while they're at it.